Well, hey, everyone out there. Thank you so much for joining us for the last webinar of 2024. And I'm super excited to be here with the Conductor team. They always close out our webinars of the last one of the year. And so I'm here with Shannon Vize, Senior Content Marketing Manager at Conductor, and Stephen Van Vessum. He is the Director of Organic Marketing at Conductor. They're both not new here to the SEJ webinar scene, but it's nice to have you guys back again. How are you doing?
Doing good. Excited to be here.
Doing good, Heather. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody that's coming in, use the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from. But, this is how we usually end our year here with Conductor. They reflect on the year past, and, the team will share what they think the year ahead is going to bring. So it's kind of like Christmas has come a little early. I hear y'all are giving out some resource strategies, AIO-specific priorities, and they're going to share some insights on how to navigate these challenges and opportunities for you SEOs and marketers out there. So let them get to it in just a second while everybody's still coming in. Quick housekeeping. So if you need closed caption, it's the little CC in the top right of your screen. Just give that a click. We are going to do Q&A at the end of the presentation. So we anticipate a lot of questions today. Use that Q&A tab. Let us know what you want to hear from Stephen and Shannon. If you see a question that's already been asked that you like, give it a little thumbs up. It'll push to the top of the list, and we'll do our best to prioritize those at the end. Before you leave today's webinar, we're going to shoot you just a quick survey. It takes about 30 seconds and lets us know how today's webinar went, how we can make them better for you. And believe me when I tell you, we read every single one of them out there, don't we, Jonathan? Jonathan's in the background for tech support if you guys need anything. And we got some polls. We've got some handouts. And so it's going to be a great time. I can see all of this engagement on the chat already. So Shannon, Stephen, you're going to have your work cut out for you today. So here we go, guys.
All right. We will go ahead and get started. So I see everyone is already kind of dropping in where they're coming from live today. So I'm over in Brooklyn, so I'll kind of throw in that too. So if you haven't already dropped it, definitely drop it in the chat. So today, as mentioned, we'll be talking about SEO in 2025, a look back at 2024, as well as some top trends, priorities, and challenges as we head into the new year. All right, so up first, just some quick intros. As mentioned, I'm Shannon, the Senior Content Marketing Manager here at Conductor. I'm coming up on, I believe, just 10 years of experience in content marketing with a focus, obviously, in SEO. We all know those are deeply connected. So with that, I'll pass it over to Stephen.
Thanks, Shannon. So my name is Stephen Van Vessum. I'm the Director of Organic Marketing at Conductor. I closely work together with Shannon, and I'll be honest, Shannon is the MVP here. She did all of the legwork. I'm here to support her for the presentation. So back to you, Shannon. Take it away.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Stephen. Definitely a partner effort. And also, I hope everyone can bear with me. My throat is a little sore today. But so first things first, let's talk our survey methodology. So what informed the data that we're about to review? So we did survey around 350 digital marketing, SEO, and content marketing experts in North America who serve a primary role in managing a brand's website or digital presence. These were sourced from B2B and B2C companies ranging in size from small to mid-market and enterprise. And then our data represents the perspectives of various digital stakeholders. So think all role levels, including practitioners, analysts, strategists, and specialists, as well as managers, directors, and above. So we did use the concept of SEO maturity to kind of further segment the data throughout this report. And we did that based on these corresponding kind of three levels. So first, you have low SEO maturity. So organizations where SEO is not that important yet. There are currently minimal investments in SEO. Then we have medium SEO maturity, organizations where SEO is moderately important with kind of adequate SEO investments. And then we have organizations at the high SEO maturity level. So these are orgs where SEO is a priority and it's a significant part of the processes for more than one team with strong investment. So with that being said, I wanted to kind of get started with our first poll question. So based on these definitions, please let us know which SEO maturity level you would classify your organization at. We'd love to kind of get a pulse check here. So just go ahead and reply when you get a chance.
And that should pop up for most people. If it doesn't, you can find it in the polls tab. And let me make that, there you go. That's what I was looking for. So you can see 49% of people on the call are about medium.
Amazing, yeah. Love to see this breakdown. I think it's similar to what we saw in the report as well. I think we might have had a few more high in the report, but love to see kind of a good split here. All right, so we'll keep on going. So how did SEO impact performance, and what were the top priorities and challenges faced in 2024? Always important to look back before we look forward. So the impact of SEO overall was very positive. So 91% reported that SEO positively impacted website performance and marketing goals in 2024. As you can see, that's kind of a combination of 40% who said large positive impact and 51% who said slight positive impact. Some interesting callouts here were that the demand generation growth marketers kind of cohort were twice as likely to report that SEO had no impact on performance than all other job functions. And they were also the same group 3 times more likely to report that SEO had a slight negative impact on performance than all other job functions. So we were interested in why this might be the case. And it's likely that this team, demand gen growth teams, are often more siloed from regular SEO reporting or are focused on metrics that don't necessarily show the full impact of SEO on performance. They were also the only job function to report kind of ad hoc and inconsistent as the top response to their organization's SEO reporting approach. So this limited view kind of reinforces the value of that kind of cross-functional SEO platform that every digital team can be leveraging to understand the impact of SEO and really use those insights to fuel growth. All right, we'll keep on going. So here we're looking at the top 3 SEO priorities in 2024. As you can see across the board for all kind of role levels, increasing brand awareness remained the top SEO priority overall in 2024, which is what we saw in 2023 as well. So practitioners and managers are primarily focused on some more tactical objectives like improving collaboration, you can see here, and mitigating bandwidth limitations. But interestingly, improving SEO collaboration was ranked a top priority by the web dev and analytics job functions exclusively. So I think this is interesting. They definitely rely on collaboration to take action, unlike some SEOs or content marketers who can kind of move forward on their own. Managers could be more aware of this disconnect and are prioritizing improved collaboration as a result. So you can see it ranked here as their number 2 priority. And then leaders are more focused on the latest trends and how to leverage these innovations to fuel growth. So before we get to the next slide, we do have another poll for everyone, keeping you very engaged up top at the start here. So we would love to know, what is the biggest SEO challenge that you've faced over the last 12 months? And I believe we have kind of quite a few options to choose here. So I won't read through them. I'll let you all read through them, but we'll give you a little bit more time on this one.
And while those answers start coming in, we'll max this so you can see it. But if they'll all display, oh yeah, they do display on the screen. Nice. I just want to point out that in the handouts tab, make sure that you grab it. This is the data report from Conductor. So definitely make sure you all grab that before you head off the call today.
Okay, so far it's looking like a lot of us are struggling with adapting to AI advancements this past year. Another top one, lack of speed. Yes, I think this aligns well with what we were seeing as well. Okay, All right, we'll keep going. So with that in mind, here is a look at the overall kind of most significant SEO challenges in 2024, according to our survey. So you can see those poll answers do align with kind of our survey results here, with the number one being adapting to AI advancements. So at the start of 2024, as I'm sure all of us are familiar, all eyes were really on Google's impending rollout of AIO, which was formerly known as SGE, to all users. So it's not surprising that adapting to AI advancements was ranked as the most significant challenge overall. I think we're learning as we go, and I think SEOs and marketers specifically really braced for the worst in 2024, as major publications were predicting the end of search and like SEO following the full launch of AIO. But as we'll kind of dig into, I don't necessarily think that's the case. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Stephen.
Thanks, Shannon. That's a great intro to the next poll. So how did Google's AIO impact SEO in 2024 for you? And yeah, I would love to get your take on this. I won't bias you, your results. I'll tell you my answer later.
There it goes. I was going to say, sometimes it takes a second for them to come through.
Interesting. The unsure lack visibility or reporting is interesting, especially given this year. It's been crazy with Google updates. Like there's one being rolled out right now as well, like the November update that just finished out rolling. And Google thought it was a good idea to launch the December one. So there's been all these updates, and in the midst of that, Google rolled out AIO reviews starting May, and they've been like refining it, rolling it back, tweaking it, because telling people to glue their pizza together or remove an arm to lose weight was a great way to answer people's queries. Okay, cool. I think the results align nicely with what we've been seeing. So let's jump to that slide. So what I found fascinating about this is if you look at the green parts. So 24% of the respondents said that AIOs are going to have a large positive impact. 39 said a slight positive impact, and 17 said no impact. So like if you combine those, like 80% of the respondents is either positive or sort of neutral about AIOs, which is super interesting. Like 9% slightly negative, 1% only large negative, and then 10% unsure, like visibility or reporting, what we basically just saw in the poll. This is super interesting. If we go to the next one, we basically see a breakdown of the results per maturity level that Shannon just mentioned. So we have high, medium, low. So depending on how important SEO as a channel is, we've sort of bucketed the respondents in these three maturity levels. So high SEO maturity is actually super positive. So like, hey, this is a good thing. This is improving the user experience probably for Google users. Then we have medium SEO maturity, which are still very positive, but less so than the high maturity organizations. And then we have low SEO maturity, where they're less positive, but they're also like 50% of the folks said, hey, we don't think it's going to have an impact, which is likely tied to not having insight into the impact of AIO, not having like proper reporting in place, which granted is not that easy to come by, because like Google Search Console doesn't have any functionality as of now to see how you're performing there. There are tools out there like Conductor to help you see how it's impacting your organic traffic, of course. But yeah, this is very cool. If we look at the top priorities this year compared to last year, we see that last year a lot of people were really focused on making their site's user experience better for visitors and targeting long tail keywords. And then this year we're seeing that folks are very much focused on continuous learning and adaptation, which very much ties to the rise of AI that we've been seeing over the last year. Like AI overviews, formerly known as search generative answers, SGE, is a good example of that. But also like Perplexity, AI, ChatGPT, Claude, like all of these generative AI platforms / chatbots are very impactful in our day-to-day work. So a lot of folks are figuring out like, hey, how can I best leverage this in my work? So we see a very big shift in priorities. UX is still important though. It's just ranking number 2. Yeah, there's so much emphasis on continuous learning and adaptation that yeah, it's clear where people's minds are at. So overall, so this slide looks a little bit like the one a couple slides ago, but this is actually about the impact of AI, like AI in general. So could be AI overviews, could be ChatGPT, could be Perplexity AI or Gemini, whatever. The anticipated impact of AI on SEO next year is expected to be very positive. So 40% of the folks said, hey, it's going to be a large positive impact. 45% said slight positive impact. So like 85% of the people are positive about this, which is good to see. This tells us that people are looking for good ways to leverage AI to get more done in less time, get better results. Maybe they're like generating content outlines and having tools make little creatives like titles, meta descriptions, things like that. So this is great to see. The space we're in is embracing AI. And with that, I'm handing it back to Shannon.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. And I've seen a few questions come through, but just a reminder, you can drop those in the Q&A chat and they'll get prioritized during our Q&A portion. So just a reminder, if you have any questions that come up, go ahead and drop them there. Perfect. All right, so let's talk about SEO resourcing. So how will your SEO resourcing strategy and time to implementation impact SEO success in 2025? So let's take a look here. So here we're looking at the in-house versus outsourced SEO resourcing strategy overall, and the results from our survey from 2023 to 2024. So in that kind of year-over-year comparison, organizations are reporting an in-house strategy that increased around 9% year over year. So we were interested in, kind of why is that changing year over year? Why is that growing? And it's because implementing an in-house SEO resourcing strategy really allows companies to play a more active role in developing and executing SEO strategies. An in-house SEO strategy also could enable faster adaptation to future AI-related disruptions in search. So it's really just, taking that SEO talent in-house versus outsourcing to an agency or a hybrid approach, which some organizations do find success in. But we are seeing kind of a year-over-year trend of growing into migrating more into an in-house SEO resourcing strategy, which is interesting to know. All right, so next up here we have average time to implementation for SEO requests. So as I hope many of us on this call know, time is everything, speed is everything when it comes to SEO. So no surprise to see that reflected in these survey results. So 61% reported that it takes less than 2 weeks for the web development or IT teams to fulfill an SEO request. So a combination of what you're seeing in the pie chart, 27% less than a week, 34%, which was a majority, reported 1 to 2 weeks. However, organizations with medium to high SEO maturity, we found, were twice as likely to have SEO tasks completed within 2 weeks compared to those with low SEO maturity. So I think what these results kind of reiterate and tell us are that, as I mentioned, speed is everything when it comes to SEO. On average, SEO issues, technical issues that go unnoticed for at least, on average, at least go unnoticed for 4 weeks and cost around $75,000 in lost revenue. And if it's your homepage, if it's a top lead driving page, that can be even more significant. So organizations with high SEO maturity definitely recognize how much they have to lose by moving too slowly, which is why increasing the time to implementation for SEO requests is one of their top SEO priorities for 2025, which you can read more about in the complete 2025 State of SEO report, which I believe is available in the handout section here. So definitely feel free to download that and toggle through there. There's some additional interesting insights that I would recommend. With that being said, I'll pass it back to Stephen to talk SEO reporting.
One of my favorite topics. Thanks, Shannon. Okay, so what does SEO reporting look like in 2024? Well, what you'll find here won't really come as a surprise. The 3 most common SEO reporting metrics are user engagement metrics, like time on site, interactions with content, downloads, stuff like that. The second one, organic traffic. And the third one, keyword rankings. Now, these are the most common ones. But what if you break them down by maturity level? So the low maturity organizations are mostly tracking revenue, organic traffic, and the user engagement metrics. So sort of like the bare bone, like it's not bad, like it's a good way to start. And as you mature within the SEO space, and as the organization kind of matures, you'll often see that you'll start to track more metrics. So like medium SEO maturity organizations are on average tracking 5. So they track user engagement metrics like the SEO maturity organizations did, organic traffic, but they've also added website health and revenue next to tracking keyword rankings. And when we're talking about website health, Core Web Vitals are a great example. Like they are very measurable, and it's a good proxy for determining how good of a user experience you provide from a technical point of view. Revenue, that's great, of course, because ultimately, like if you're going to management for budget increases and stuff, being able to show what you deliver through the SEO channel is key. Now, moving on to high SEO maturity. These organizations basically track everything that they can find. So conversion rates is a very important one, listed as the third one. And the other one that is typically found also like in like non-ecom spaces, like for instance SaaS, like Connector, SQLs, MQLs, leads, and transactions. So those are sort of proxies to be able to see how SEO contributes throughout the customer journey. And all the way at the bottom, we have organic impressions, which I find fascinating because essentially it is just showing you how often you were shown on a search engine result page. If you have a ton of impressions, that could be that you got a lot of clicks, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. But you could sort of use it as a proxy for brand visibility. moving on, what are the top SEO priorities for 2025? Well, this one will not come as a surprise. So here we broke it down by role type. So we have the practitioners, we have the managers, and the leaders. Practitioners and managers are very much focused on adapting to the impact of AI on SEO. So this is top of mind, which makes sense. If you look at like everything that SCJ has written this year, I bet that half is about the role of AI in the SEO space. So just top of mind for everyone. Including the leaders, but it's not the most important thing they're going to be focused on next year. The increasing the rate of implementing SEO improvements is actually number one. So this speaks to what Shannon just showed, this is good because this shows that the leaders see the value of being able to ship bug fixes or new features quickly. Especially with the rise of AI, if we can call it like that, the speed at which you operate has gotten a lot more important because everyone can move a lot quicker. And like if you're basically sort of going at the same pace as you were a couple of years ago, then yeah, you're going to be left behind. If we can go back one slide, Shannon. Yes, one other focus area I want to call out is being able to measure the performance of SEO efforts. This is interesting and not surprising given how scattered the customer journey can be, especially with like LLMs like ChatGPT and sort of like Google Analytics, which is providing us, for example, with less and less data. So this is definitely an issue that is only going to become bigger and just something that we have to deal with. Okay, cool. All right, if we split this by maturity level, we see that the high maturity organizations are very much focused on adapting to the impact of AI, but as a good second, being able to measure the performance of SEO efforts. So this is a continuous struggle for folks in SEO. I'm curious if this is similar for you in your role, but yeah, this is like for some reason people in PPC roles don't really have this problem. It seems they're very good at making clear like what they're spending, what it's resulting in, and how to get more budget. But if you look at SEO as a space, I think we have a lot of work to do there, and we can learn a lot from our counterparts in pay. So being able to measure the performance of SEO efforts is going to be one of the main priorities across maturity levels and role types for next year. Cool. So with that, we have room for questions. I saw a lot of activity in the chat, so yeah, eager to dig in.
Yeah, we have some great questions for you guys. So let's get started. So Kevin wants to know, for SEO priorities related to AIO, why do you believe schema markup enhancement was no longer prioritized with the top 24 priorities compared to 23 priorities?
I have a theory. I personally believe that schema markup has sort of become very common, and that like everyone's basically doing it, and that like it's still important, but it's not as new and shiny to be sort of called out as a priority anymore. I think it's going to be it's basically lumped into like technical improvements, and like people are still doing it. So I think still a priority, but just not as visible with all of the other things that we have going on.
So Haley asks, what's the best way to see impact of AIOs on organic goals in 2025? Do content marketers try to capture every AIO possible? Is the tactic or anything beyond for brand awareness?
Yeah, great question. There's a lot to unpack, Haley, but I'll do my best. So let's start at the beginning. What's the best way to see the impact of AIOs on organic goals in 2025? So first of all, like if you look in your analytics software, Google Search Console, you're going to see trends. If you are targeting a lot of queries that are getting AIOs, you're going to see drops in organic traffic. Like some could be like small drops, like 10%, could go up to like 50%. Now, this applies even if you're listed in the AIOs. I've seen some crazy examples, which are sometimes a little frightening. But like you're definitely going to see trends, and that is like if you sort of rule out that you were impacted by like some of the Google updates, but you're still seeing a decline in traffic, it is very likely to be caused by AIOs. Now, the queries that are sort of affected the most are informational and educational ones. So, for instance, if you're searching for, I don't know, what is a canonical URL? Like it's a fact. Like Google knows it. It's very easy to whip up. And like if you're previously getting a lot of traffic through that term, Google's now taken it. And they're doing that a lot with this type of content. So I'll move on to the second part of the questions. Do content marketers try to capture every AIO possible? This is a tactic for anything beyond brand awareness. What I would personally do as a content marketer is I would not try to compete in the arena where AIOs are super visible and prevalent. I would focus on queries and topics that are harder to answer, because like Google can answer all the easy stuff, but if it's harder, if it's based on experiences or like data you or only a handful of companies have, that's a much better content type. That's more future-proof. And as for brand awareness in AIOs, there is like a brand awareness component to it. You have your favicon and you have your brand. So yes, there's brand exposure, but the question is, how does it compare to like a site visit? If someone sees you in the search engine result page in an AIO, but doesn't click on a result, just reads it and is like, okay, that makes sense. Like if you compare that to a site visit where someone actually engages with your site, I would say like site visit has a lot more brand awareness impact. But being visible in the AIO is still then the next best thing. If no one's clicking, then yeah, it's great that you're there at least. Hope that makes sense. Sorry for the rambling.
I think you did a great job. All right, Daniela asks, should keyword research change in 2025 given the longer tail queries that are popping up?
Do you want to take that one, Shannon?
I would just say that it's similar to what you said about AIO. It's like you want to be targeting these longer tail queries overall is what I would say in terms of like a content strategy. But in terms of keyword research, I think it depends on, how you're doing your research, what platform you're using, what tool, what technology, and what is possible, and making sure that it does provide you with the ability to target those longer tail queries, as well as just hone in on the language that your audience is using and reflecting that in your content overall. But that's just my 2 cents. What would you add, Stephen?
That's a great answer. What I would add is like longer tail queries do not necessarily have to be informational or educational in nature. If there are long tail queries that are that that people search for those queries, they're looking for answer, then those are great to incorporate in your keyword strategy. So I think like overall, your SEO strategy is changing in 2025 when you think about like the AIOs. Like if I were to do keyword research around a certain topic, I would want to know based on a keyword sets, like for which of these keywords are we now seeing AIOs, and then I would pick my battles. I would choose to fight for a spot in a SERP that does not have an AIO, ideally. So there's the TLDR. I think we added, we're seeing a new dimension being added to keyword research, where you have to think about it a lot more about like what's going on in the SERP, what kind of battle are we fighting there, and is it one that we can win, and like does it make sense given the investment I need to make to create the content piece.
All right. Here's a question from Sonica for e-commerce. So it asks, how many keywords within the description, features, and specs is ideal to improve rankings and impressions? So, you know, maybe it's not about volume, but any tips for e-com on what they can do to better rank?
I can kick this off, and maybe Shannon, if you have any additions. I would really focus on using keywords that your audience is using and things you can accomplish with a certain product. So common use cases, the pain points that the product is helping you solve. And then I would just make sure that it is not overly long, like short and snappy is what people want. So yeah. Keep it stupid simple, less is more, but use the terms that your audience is using.
Yeah, just to echo that as well. I know like internally, like a lot of times people have, you know, they have ideas about how products should be named, or, you know, what is intuitive for like internal employees at an organization, or how you refer to things internally. But that doesn't necessarily match what your target audience is using in terms of how they search for a product. I think we've seen that with quite a few of our customers. In terms of recognizing that like the original name that they maybe have landed on isn't the right name to kind of launch with, and being open to being agile there, and also like testing within your audience, similar to just kind of echoing Stephen's thoughts there. It's less about, you know, keyword stuffing and more just about aligning your content and your copy with the voice of your audience, so that you're showing up where those searches are happening, so that those users who are ready to convert see your listing kind of up first.
Question from Simon, does Conductor provide brand and content monitoring on AI search?
Not at this point.
Yeah, not at this point. We are reporting on AIO results, but not in AI search just yet.
Yeah, this is something that is like that comes up from time to time, especially now. So it's something we're aware of, but it's not something that we currently have in the platform. High on my wish list. Maybe I'll get it for Christmas. Who knows?
That would be nice. From Rymule, I love this question. While AIO can reduce organic click-through rates, could it open up new opportunities for branding or authority building? And how can SEOs position themselves to benefit from this shift?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. So in terms of new opportunities, what I'm seeing is that AIOs typically grab information, text from a variety of sites. Could be a couple sites ranking in the top 10, but they're also taking information from sites that rank a lot lower. So if you're providing good content, you're sort of like the new kid on the block rising up. You could be featured in AIOs. So like, it could fast track your sort of your organic growth. As for the second part of the question, how should SEOs position themselves to benefit from this shift? I think it's pretty cool that as a new, relatively new site within an authoritative space, if you create and publish good content, that you can be there at the very top. You're not going to be like as visible as some of the other folks, but you can be there. So I think this sort of lowers the barrier to getting visibility. At the same time, I kind of feel like there is a cap at the visibility that you're going to get because of AIOs, but there's definitely opportunities there.
Question from Manuel. How do I know what queries don't have and do have AIOs?
Yeah, great question. And that's where a platform like Conductor comes in, where you can track keywords and you can see like for which keywords Google serve an AIOs and for which it isn't. So like you could try to do this manually, but of course we have personalized search. So all of our searches, like all of our results are personalized based on past user behavior and so on. So they're not super reflective of what the average user is seeing. So that's really when you want to leverage a platform like Conductor.
Agreed. And just initial studies have shown just what we've said already about AIO really populating for informational and some educational queries. And so the more kind of complex are less likely to be there, but not necessarily not there. So echoing Stephen's comments, that definitely need the right technology that is able to help kind of automate that process for you.
Question from Brittany. In your opinion, what are the key priorities and strategies a local marketing agency should focus on to help local businesses rank higher in local search results through effective SEO implementation?
This is kind of a rogue tip, but and you're probably already doing this, so I'll pass this to Stephen afterwards. But don't overlook the importance of kind of like Google's suite of products and how they prioritize that. So specifically, like Google Maps reviews, that can be kind of a huge bump in your SEO presence overall if you're netting a lot of accurate, authenticated, recent positive reviews. I've seen that have kind of a big impact along with other strategies, but that's just my 2 cents. So with that, I'll pass it over to you, Stephen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Shannon, I think that's a great way to get started. Like having those reviews obviously are super important. As for other things you can do, I would say like citations. Basically mentions that tie you to a location, local citations, super important. And I would also think about like what's coming in 2025. So like when people are going to be searching for local businesses through ChatGPT, for example. So I would start querying ChatGPT, having those conversations. Be like, I don't know, is there a good gym near my house in Brooklyn? Is there like what's the best Italian restaurant in Manhattan? Stuff like that, for example. See what kind of results come up, and oftentimes you'll see surprising things like outdated information because ChatGPT is trained on older data sets, and then you can also ask ChatGPT in this example to crawl the web, and they'll do that using Bing, and then you can provide feedback on the results you're getting back. So you're sort of part of the training or the retraining of the model. Hope that helps.
Question from Aaron. Do we know if AI search engines such as Perplexity and ChatGPT respect no index tags on web pages?
Good question. I don't know off the top of my head, Aaron, but I would think so. When Perplexity and ChatGPT first got launched, they weren't respecting anything, I think. They were just crawling the web and like getting access to as much information as possible. But over time, people were like, hey, that's not cool. We need ways to tell you that you can or cannot access certain information. So I know they're respecting robust text files. The no index is pretty specific, yeah, I don't know. I would think so, but I'm not sure actually.
Question from Wasif. How should news publishers prepare themselves for the AI and Google updates? It's a little general, so any tips, I guess?
Good question. I know that there are actually a few pending, or I saw at least one lawsuit regarding the use of kind of news organizations content in AIO. I believe it was against Google, as well as I think some of these AI tools that we're seeing. So I'm interested. I'm keeping my eye on those. I'm interested to see kind of where that lands and what happens with that. So that's just kind of one thing is to keep a pulse check on that and what those answers are there. But Stephen, any recommendations here?
Yeah, I would keep a close eye on what's going on in your space. So with AIOs being pushed, like Google updates in general, we have seen a lot of Google updates. A lot of them have affected publishers, especially the last couple ones. So I think like all of the general SEO advice is still applies. And as for the AI part in relation to AIOs, I would be more mindful of even more mindful of what the search engine result page looks like, and yeah, we're going to be competing with, because more and more we are ending up competing with Google for traffic.
And then just a quick note, I saw in the chat from Christian, it looks like he or they might have dropped a question to some sort of ChatGPT tool about whether or not they respect no index tags. So that was interesting. It looks like the tool responded saying they do not respect no index tags. So that's interesting. I'm definitely interested to dig a little deeper there and see what the answer is there, and if it's the same across the board with all different types of tools that you use. So sorry, just a call out there, but we can get back to the questions.
No,
it's a good call out. I like it.
Yeah, good use of AI, right? I think we might have like one or two more. I'm like trying to scavenge and see if I can find any more. So from Servinas, can AI be useful for SEO backlink implementation?
I would say so, because AI tools can help you draft messages quickly, process data. So there's like 1,000 ways to leverage AI to speed up your work when you're building links. I think one way I've started to rethink building links and doing digital PR is thinking about how large language models like ChatGPT are discovering brands, and how they're sort of trying to figure out how popular a brand is, and how brands are related to people and other brands. And like the answer is knowledge graphs. So knowledge graphs are essentially large networks showing like what entities, like an entity could be a person, could be a company, could be whatever, are connected. So they are connected through links. So there's like sort of like a renewed focus on links. And I think there's a lot of work to be done for a lot of brands. And I think we've also come full circle, because if you do cool stuff, and you have a cool brand, you have great products or services, like you're going to see that is going to be rewarded with more organic traffic, more links, more branded traffic, and in turn more non-branded traffic as well. And having backlinks is an essential part of it.
It's all about building quality, right? Over quantity.
Yeah. Doing something meaningful.
This is a little bit of a loaded question, but I love these. I I think it's probably going to be your typical SEO answer. It depends. Maybe we don't have an answer, but how long until Google will start charging for higher PPC rankings within the AIO results?
I've already seen tests reported where AIOs are showing paid links, including Google Shopping results, which are often paid. So I think we're already seeing some testing being done by Google. Obviously, Google's here to make money. They're pretty good at that. So, like, I guarantee you, they're working very hard on ways to monetize AIOs better than they're currently doing. So I think how long? I don't know, a couple weeks. But there's definitely a lot of work being done in the background. This is high on the agenda. People want their bonuses.
All right, let's end with this last one from Lloyd. So what SEO tips would you have for a professional services firm operating locally, architects, engineers, to prepare themselves for AI search? I know we talked a little bit about local. Anything specific here?
Do you want to take a stab at this one, Shannon?
You can go first, Stephen, and
All
then I can come in after.
Okay. So got an idea. I think like with AI search, like as a professional service firm, you typically don't need a lot of customers. You don't necessarily need volume. You need to get the right customers on board. So I think it is very, very important that you explain and show the work you do and how cool the stuff is that you're doing. So it sounds like in this case, it's very visual. So make sure you have like case studies on your site, that all of the information is accessible, which means like you're sort of like the technical foundation of your site needs to be good. But you also need to make sure that these large language models like ChatGPT, for example, and AI search engines like Perplexity AI have access to your site and know about it. If they don't, like you can have these conversations where you're like, hey, like who's the best architect in city, whatever, and they'll provide results. You can give feedback on those results. You're like, hey, there's a great one missing, mine. I do a lot of cool stuff. You can find more about that here. So like that's sort of like a starting point. And I think that's a great way to get started. Basically, with the basic, showing off all the cool things you're doing and making sure it's accessible.
Okay, I lied. I'm going to take one more. The follow-up part of this question is the good part. So first, Donna wants to know non-AI adaptive companies versus the ones that are adopting it. What are the odds that they're going to, rank in SEO or organically, right? But it's the second part. It's like, how do you persuade those traditional minds to look at AI and start to implement it within the organization? And so those who are hitting, hurdles trying to get this through.
Take us away, Stephen.
I think a great way to get a conversation going, if you're not being heard, is to show the results. Because if you're not on board the AI train at this point, you're going to see graphs that are going down. And if you're not, you're about to. So I think that is a good way to get attention, where you're like, hey, look, we're seeing this. The market's changing. We need to adapt, because otherwise we're going to go extinct. And then you're going to get questions like, oh, shit, what do you need? If you don't get that question, the organization may be really stuck and not be in a good place in the near future. So it is really, really important for organizations to adapt and adopt. You don't have to go all in with the adoption of AI, but you definitely have to be mindful of what's going on in your space and how it's affecting your space. And it's different for every business and for every niche. But like the toothpaste is out there, so to say. The genie's out of the bottle. This is happening, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, and just to echo that in terms of like implementing AI within your organization or your team, yeah, just I would say echoing Stephen's comments about really showing the results, kind of the takeaways, like how much you have to gain by implementing it. That's something that has worked well on our content team, on our larger marketing team overall, as well as kind of reassuring the concerns. I think that's where a lot of the kind of anxiety around it comes from, is like giving this AI, information. And so providing some guidance, some guidelines, looking at what other companies have related to kind of what are their security policies and things like that can help get some other folks on board who are a little resistant to that.
I think those are great tips. Absolutely. All right. That's it. We're at the end. Stephen, Shannon, thank you both so much. Tell the people before everybody leaves, make sure you get the handout because it has all of the data from the report. But tell the people where to find you.
Yes, so you can find me on LinkedIn. I believe it's just /Shannon Vize. So hopefully aren't too many Shannon Vizes out there. You should be able to find me.
Cool. Yeah, and for me, it's Stephen Van Vessum. You can combine it with Conductor or not. Easy man to find. And of course, our site is conductor.com. If you search for Conductor State of SEO, you'll find a report there as well, along with the article. And if you have any questions for us, feel free to send us a message on LinkedIn, for example.
Awesome. I wish I was the only Heather Campbell, but that is not the case. I have to fight for I never get anything that's branded for me. So with that, I hope you all have a lovely holiday season. Thank you both for being here, for sharing this. You can see all of the great presentation. Thank you so much coming through the chat. You guys did great. So killer tips. Thank you all. We'll see you on the next webinar. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Heather.
Bye, guys.